Good afternoon. Tijuana Estuary is live with Lunchtime Live. Off the back of the Visitor Center here at the Tijuana Estuary, a shot of the coastal sage scrub and salt marsh looking south. Tijuana in the distance, clouds in the sky, a windy and cool day. Just thought I'd give you guys a little view before we dive into Lunchtime Live, today's topic. A tiny flower with a mighty impression. I'm giving you that view. How's the sound today? If you're watching, we appreciate any feedback on the sound. A lot of helicopters and some wind, but hoping the sound is good. I see some thumbs up. I hope that's related to the sound. Great. Okay, awesome. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Kevin. Really appreciate it. Thanks. Hi. Thank you, Donna. Hi, everyone. Our regular audience and hopefully some new folks joining us today for Lunchtime Live. Thank you, Mark. All right. Thumbs up if you've been here before. If you know exactly where I'm standing. Right off of the back of the Visitor Center at the amphitheater. Hello, DJ Frank. There's that medallion, and another shot there. A lot of thumbs up. All right, there's that amphitheater, the shade sails, and the visitor. Oh, you guys hear that? That's the light-footed Ridgeways rail. I don't know if the microphone is picking that up. Not picking you up. All right. Hi, Frank. Okay, we'll see. You're going to be visiting us in July. Awesome. Yes. Okay, great. I think you heard the rails. Excellent. So you can see it's a lovely day for rails. Actually, I was out walking earlier and heard them, so they're quite chatty today. Although it's chilly and cold, maybe they're agitated. All right, let's flip this back around so I can introduce myself. My name is Maria. I'm an education specialist and research assistant here at the Tijuana River National Estuarine Research Reserve. For those of you joining us for the first time, and we call ourselves the Tijuana Estuary for short. So here I am standing here outside our visitor center for today's edition of Lunchtime Live, where we take a look at this tiny flower with a mighty impression. Let's see, sorry, and I really appreciate the comments. Yes, Kevin, the ospreys, the Little League have 3 babies. They are constantly flying around to the Willow area where I do a lot of the school programs and grabbing nesting material. It's so fun to watch them do that. I know they're taking it back there. It seems to be a popular spot for them to annually build their nests and raise their babes. So cool, I'm glad you're saying. I'll have to go over there and check them out. And let's see. Okay, so yeah, keep those comments and questions coming related to today's topic. I really appreciate them. I do my best to interact as much as I can. So today, tiny flower, mighty impression. What am I talking about? Well, let's see. I'm gonna flip this around. We have this wonderful behind me example, a mix of coastal sage scrub, and today's plant I found in here, but it's lots of locations around the visitor center. It was tough to choose which one to broadcast from, but I thought this was a good one. I've never broadcasted from here before. So I would like to turn this, yes, the bush sunflower. Those yellow sunflowers are the Encelia californica bush sunflower. So let me turn this around and show you I'd love to see your pics too so far. Oh, okay, great. Anna, I'm wondering if you're talking about today's topic, which, by the way, I'll unveil the name of the plant. It's mint-leaved vervain, verbena menthafolia. We call it mint verbena here, although if you look it up, that's not a common name that I've seen written on the internet. Yes, what are the purple flowers mixed in there? Craig, that's today's subject. The mint-leaf vervain, verbena menthafolia mixed in there. And I always take the camera off of the tripod as we look closer, but I just wanted to give you that overall perspective that today's plant, the smallest flower in this mix of coastal sage scrub. This is a plant found in the coastal sage scrub, Southern California, dry, scrubby, shrubby habitat. Excellent example here. These, of course, are all planted because it's the visitor center, but this is a beautiful mix of coastal sage scrub. Thanks to Debbie from the Fish and Wildlife Service. How can you send a pic? You can post a pic in the comments. If you have a way to post, if you have access to the picture digitally, you can actually post it. I don't know if no one's done that while I've been, sorry, I'm answering Kevin's question. Done that while I'm broadcasting that I'm aware of, so I'm not sure if I will see it, but I always go back later and look at these pictures in the comments. So there we go. Verbena menthafolia, mint-leaf verbena, tiny flower, mighty impression. And I don't know how well the camera really picks this up, but these purple flowers are almost electric to me. I don't know if they're standing out to you the way they stand out to me when I walk by them. They really are eye-catching. You come around the corner and of all the flowers in here, yes, there's a lot of dominant yellow, but that purple just stands out. As tiny as they are, really just stands out. Again, found in the coastal sage scrub, a plant that gets 2-3 feet high, long slender stems. Again, we're gonna get close. Very long slender stems, and its height really comes from the fact that it intermixes with the coastal sage scrub. It's being supported by the plants around it. It really grows well in and among the plant. I grew one in my front yard, not next to anything, and it just kind of flattened out. And it was huge, like a big, flat group of stems. It had some height, but not like this. All right, so let's get this off and look. So it's kind of like a spray shape in a sense. It sprays out these stems coming from the center. And let me get that off of there. Verbena menthafolia in the Verbenaceae family. So its family is the same name. Okay, in there with the vervains. Sorry, I'm not too familiar with vervains, but they seem to be somewhat popular or well known. I do have a macro lens I'll put on in just a minute, but I want to just give you an overall view of how this plant is growing in and among here in the Encilia californica, or the bush sunflower, and this golden bush as well. So the yellow flowers are the bush sunflower, and the purple is the mint leaved vervain, Verbena menthafolia. And you can see down here along the sidewalk, the ground, that's kind of a normal growth position, I guess, for them, coming out like that, sort of flat along the ground. But it's with other plants that they get some height. So these long stems, I think up to about 75 meters or 75 centimeters in length, growing very tall with the leaves closer to the bottom of each one of these extremely long stems. So let's see if we can. It's tough when it's not a standalone plant mixed in to see some of the details. So we see that purple stem and that very lobed, deeply lobed leaf. Let me put the macro on and see if that helps a little bit with the detail. You know, a lot of you love the macro. I like the macro as well. As long as we can get it right. So there we are, the macro. There are those deeply lobed leaves, hairy. There we go. You see those growing opposite on this thin purple stem. There's my finger for scale. Okay. So the hairy, sort of straight up, erect position of the stem, and as it moves up, moving up, we will get to what I find to be almost electric. The flower. The verbena, menthafolia, that purple and white flower. Really, that purple stands out. And maybe it's that contrast with, so it acts like a vine and climbs its neighbors. In a way, yes, Bob, it does act sort of like a vine. It really is just the positioning. It's the other plants that kind of position it up, I believe, sort of the way it seems. Otherwise, it just grows kind of along the bottom, but not growing like a vine along the bottom, just kind of lays more flat instead of upright. And see them spaced. Lots of spacing between these tiny, mighty flowers. And I don't know if it really picks it up, but to me they have this almost electric sort of look to them. And what's interesting is when in doing some research, there really isn't a lot that is said about the verbena menthafolia. Besides, it's just basic descriptions. But a lot of them, the flower is listed as white. And here at the Tijuana Estuary, we clearly see them more as purple. So here we go up towards the end. And there's the end of the stem there. With more flowers to come. This is a plant that starts to flower this time of year, April, into the, through the spring, maybe even with some water through till September. There we go. Verbena menthafolia, my finger for scale, that white center, and more of the purple. Really lovely, really sort of simple overall design of a plant. Not really that bushy, scrubby look to it. Much more of a simple, single, erect stems radiating from the bottom. And then we see those leaves again down here. Almost looks like it's a leafless plant unless you look down. I'm really bending over quite a bit. I'm about, I say a foot off of the ground with the camera, looking at those stems. Leaves and stems, purple stems. And this is a plant that does, you'll want to plant it in a bee or butterfly garden. Attracts a few species, butterflies and moths. For example, like the common buckeye, some dusky wings, a dog face. For those of you, your butterflies, your entomologists, they're nothing specific to this plant. It's not a host specific to anything, but it does attract butterflies and bees. So you will have some pollinators in your garden and these tiny little flowers. Again, almost that electric purple. Are you guys, is our audience seeing this? I'm gonna pull the macro off just real quick. There. See that more electric look to it. At least I think so. That's how at least the spectrum that calls out to me is this electric, almost purple. All right. Verbena menthafolia. Okay, it's growing right at the front of the visitor center. At the top of the sidewalk by the sign. It's there. It's all along the trail where the nursery is, growing in and among. Ooh, there we go. In and among the Encelia there, the bush sunflower. That contrast of purple to yellow, just beautiful. And there's so much Baja snapdragon, red snapdragon as well, that gives it that nice red, really colorful palette of native flowers. This is, again, southwestern United States, native to, and into Baja as well. Menthafolia. All right, I just want to show you one other. There's another verbena, lilacina, that I didn't realize was growing right by this one. So I would like to show this one as well, another verbena. Maybe this one, look at all that verbena, menthafolia, just growing in and among there. Now this one, as they move through this nice stand of coastal sage scrub, another purple flower. More of a, a little more pinkish, a little more, let's just call it verbena. What is the easy name for this one? Yes. So we call it here mint verbena. That's just kind of what we call it. When you look up verbena menthafolia, mint-leaved vervain is a common name that's written quite a bit, and I've never heard it called that, but I just here among the staff we call it mint verbena. Verbena, yes. Sometimes verbena is just an easy way to say, although this is another verbena. This is Verbena lilacina, and this is a plant that is native to Cedros Island in Mexico, off Baja. Native to there. However, it has been cultivated. And you can find this in nurseries. This is a very popular garden plant for attracting butterflies. And it does grow more like a shrub, like a bush. It's not doing that here because there's so many other natives around here. It's kind of getting lost. But there is another individual around the other side of the visitor center that is more bush-like. And this one is the Verbena lilacina, or the common name de la mina is the cultivar that you'll find in native plant nurseries that has become a very popular plant for attracting butterflies. So, and you can see this one as well. Let's find here. Let's go here. And we can see that it also, see those leaves? Those very deeply lobed leaves that are further down towards the base of the stem, like the menthafolia. So the lilacina and the menthafolia, that same leaf style, deeply lobed, hairy. And by the way, I'm not using the macro right now. It looks like the desert verbena, yeah, out in Borrego. Yeah. So you can see, very, same genus, different species. See those characteristics that have them in the same family. So there's the lilacina. So we've got the menthafolia and the lilacina. I really like the menthafolia personally, because they're a little more electric blue, where these are a little more pinky. So, okay. And I'll just give you another shot of the coastal sage scrub here. in the amphitheater before I put us back on that, on the tripod. I'm trying not to trip. So any other questions, last minute questions or comments about today's topic before we wrap it up? Hi everyone. Yes, very nice spring bouquet. Exactly, Bob. And one more time, I'll just show you one more time. This is the time. The purples, the red, the yellows, and all the green, new leafy green vegetation. Really nice mix. Really nice mix that we have here. So, all right, you guys, we'll be back next week for another episode. I do want to plug one thing happening tomorrow evening, 6:30. You can check in our events section of our Facebook page. Our first virtual speaker series, for those of you who have been to our Saturday in-person speaker series that we've been doing for years, an invited speaker talking about something related, research or typically within the reserve or outside the reserve. Tomorrow evening we have Shannon Mendia from the United States Geological Survey, who's part of a bird monitoring program in the Tijuana River Valley. They've been doing this monitoring. She'll explain the program. I have never had the opportunity to help them out, but it's, from what I hear, it's very exciting monitoring program that happens in the Tijuana River Valley. So she'll be sharing that tomorrow evening on our Facebook page or through Zoom if you just would prefer to sign up through Zoom, and all that information is on our Facebook event page. So hopefully we'll see you guys, our audience, there tomorrow evening. And again, everything's recorded, so if you can't make it at 6:30 to be live and ask questions, you can chime in later with questions, although Shannon probably won't be reading them. Only I will. So all right, everyone, well, thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you hopefully tomorrow evening or next week for another episode of Lunchtime Live. All right.